Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into what is arguably the ultimate psychological mystery: you. We're going to see exactly how psychologists act as literal detectives to solve the absolute most complex case in the world, which is human personality. You know, human behavior is endlessly fascinating, but actually figuring out the structure behind it, well, that takes some serious investigative work.
I mean, think about it for a second. You can't just weigh human behavior on a scale, right? You can't measure a personality with a ruler or a tape measure. So how exactly do psychologists gather the hard clues needed to crack the case of your personality? What kind of tools do they actually use to measure something that's completely invisible?
To solve this, we're going to open up 3 distinct investigative toolkits today. We'll look at the personality puzzle, then dive into subjective methods for the outside view, objective methods for the hard data, and projective methods for the deep dive, before finally unlocking your own mind.
Let's jump right into Part 1, the personality puzzle, and frame this investigation.
The source material actually categorizes all this detective work into 3 main methods. Think of them as 3 completely different lenses used to view the incredibly complex human mind. We've got subjective, objective, and projective methods. And the thing is, no single method works for everything. Each toolkit is specifically designed to uncover a completely different layer of who someone really is.
Moving right along to Part 2, subjective methods, or what I like to call the outside view.
These subjective tools are your classic shoe-leather detective work. On one hand, you have observation. This is essentially the classic stakeout, where the psychologist is just watching and recording overt, visible external behavior. On the other hand, you have the interview. This is the interrogation room. It's a face-to-face verbal interchange where you've got actual physical proximity and a mutual exchange of ideas and information.
But hey, detectives don't just watch and talk, right? They also build extensive background files. Psychologists do this through case studies, which gather comprehensive A to Z details about an individual's background. These are especially useful for what the field calls maladjusted persons. Alternatively, they might look at cumulative records. These are the confidential, permanent data systematically accumulated about a student during their entire time at school. It's literally the paper trail of a growing personality.
And even informal tracking is highly structured. Teachers actually use anecdotal records, which are frequent, brief, concrete observations of a student's behavior that follow a super strict formula. It's just 3 simple steps: the name, the specific incident, and the subject's response. Boom. It's like a precise little mini report straight from the field.
All right, let's open the next toolkit. Part 3, objective methods, the hard forensic data. Here is where we swap out human perception for hard data. Questionnaires stick to the basic facts. They use a list of pre-planned, standardized questions paired with a standardized scoring key. Super straightforward. But personality inventories, those go a lot deeper into self-appraisal. They literally ask individuals to self-report their own personal characteristics, their deepest worries, their fears, and even their lack of confidence.
Now, when you're quantifying the impressions someone makes on others, the structure of the judgment is absolutely everything. Rating scales are judged by others and capture nuance on a spectrum, judging an individual from excellent down to average, all the way to below average. But if you need absolute, binary clarity, just a simple yes or no regarding whether a trait is present, you'd use a checklist, where an observer just records a check for yes or no.
And what if you want to map out the invisible social web of an entire group? Well, for that, J.L. Marino developed this brilliant concept called sociometry. It's a technique that assesses social relationships by measuring the exact frequency of acceptance or non-acceptance within a group. Think of it as mapping out the hidden alliances and rivalries in a classroom or an office. It literally charts out who is drawn to whom and who gets pushed away.
Oh, and if we want to see how someone reacts under pressure without, waiting for real life to happen, we use situational tests. This is where we drop the subject into an artificially created situation to ascertain their specific personality traits. We basically get to observe their traits in real-time action in an environment we completely control. Pretty wild, right?
Let's dive into Part 4, projective methods, where we uncover the unconscious.
These techniques rely entirely on an absolutely fascinating psychological phenomenon known as projection. The source defines projection as attributing one's own desires and feelings to others. Basically, we take what is hidden deep inside of our own minds and we unknowingly assign it to something or someone else on the outside.
So here's how they turn that into a test. First, the psychologist provides an input, which is an indefinite, completely unstructured stimulus. Because it's unstructured, it kind of tricks the mind, allowing for a text phase, where the subject can make an unlimited variety of possible responses. And through that imaginative freedom, step 3 naturally happens. The true personality is revealed.
The sheer volume of these projective tests is honestly amazing. The source lists 7 major ones. It ranges from Herman Rorschach's famous first test, the inkblots, to the TAT by Murray and Morgan, the CAT by Bellac, and the PSI by Morgan and Geyer. There are also tests where you simply complete an unfinished sentence, C.G. Jung's word association test, and even storytelling exercises. Literally, all of them are designed to make your unconscious mind slip up and reveal itself.
Finally, Part 5, Unlocking Your Own Mind and Seeing the Complete Picture.
So bringing it all together, no single toolkit can solve the whole mystery on its own. Subjective, objective, projective, they all piece together the puzzle. But now that you know the exact tools psychologists use to investigate the mind, you kind of have to turn the magnifying glass on yourself. What clues are you leaving behind? And more importantly, what are your own daily behaviors unconsciously projecting to the world every single day? It's a mystery definitely worth solving.